there's a couple of different ways to approach it. One, the yoga style headstand and the Bregma style headstand puts weight on the very crown of the head. That fontanelle, that soft spot on the baby's head, that's where you're putting weight. So go ahead and just touch the crown of your head. And you want to think of still keeping a long and graceful neck, so reaching and extending up into the palm of your hand as your shoulders slide down your back. I wouldn't recommend headstand if you have neck injuries or head injuries, glaucoma or detached retina as well. So now we're going to start to look at what are we doing with our arms when we're in headstand. We're going to create a little tripod effect using the edge of the forearms. We want to stack our elbows not too wide, so one way we can measure that is genie arms, genie arm position, make a wish. Lower those elbows, don't move those elbows, but clasp the hands. And then leave the palms open so that the back of your head goes into your palms and the crown of your head goes into your hands. The thumbs stay upward. Now notice that even as I plant my weight on the top of the head, I push down through the forearms. That means I'm not compressing my neck, which is important. And I walk my feet in. And if you're not comfortable doing this free form, you're going to do it at a wall. And if my wall was right here, because I want to be able to show you from a back view, I'm going to pretend that here's the distance from the wall. My wall is right at the edge of the mat. So I want to also have enough padding, so I use double mats. So I'm going to slide this back. 2 mats is a great idea for headstand. So I would put my feet at the wall, just like we did in that handstand, and where the knees are, that's where the head can go. So I'm actually going to move this back a little bit more. Okay. So interlace fingers, crown of head to floor, forearms grounding, shoulders lifting, and begin to walk the feet in. You can take yourself into a tuck like this just to feel safe, with your center of gravity close to the earth. You could also go from here into a straddle. And then as you find the balance, slowly bring the legs up to a straight line. Now remember, if you're doing this at the wall to start, the wall's there, so you can bend a knee and have your foot at the wall. Try not to splay the thighs wide. Hug your midline. Keep the core actively engaged. Keep the forearms pressing down. And as you're coming down, hips back, use core strength on that descent. You can always go through a tuck and feet to the earth. After coming out of a headstand, come right to child pose and then give traction to the back of your skull and neck. You can swipe your thumbs up from the low neck to the occipital ridge, massaging it. You can roll your head in circles or side to side. So position 2 is more of a tripod headstand, which some people prefer. It is taught in gymnastics, this style, and it might feel more stable for you. So the action is we're still placing weight on the very crown of the head, but our hands are out. So we're not grounding our forearms, we're grounding our palms. Hands are out to the sides, and the elbows track in line with the wrists. My hands are just a little wider than shoulder width. And I walk my feet in. I can always pause here with my knees on my elbows before I get that full extension and lift. So you'll notice that I'm not shrugging shoulders, I'm actively lifting them away from the ears and pressing down into the palms. You have that wall there, so if you start to fall back, the wall has your back. Remember to rest. If you rush up too fast, you might get a head rush. So stay low. Stay in child pose for probably the same amount of breaths that you were up in headstand. I came out earlier, but if you were in headstand for 5 breaths, do yourself a gift and rest in child pose for 5 breaths. If you're new to headstand, I don't recommend being in it for too long, because you're really asking some new muscles and things to be on board, and you want to slowly ease into this practice, because if you try too much too fast, it might be intimidating, and I want you to enjoy this practice most of all. So have fun with it, be safe with it, and thank you very much for trying out headstands.